The on-track reality behind this standings drop is brutal. Verstappen has repeatedly called the RB22 undriveable over team radio. He complains of car degradation replacing normal tire wear issues. Every single lap is now described as pure survival. The new Ford power unit is consistently underperforming against rivals. This mechanical struggle directly caused the championship deficit. Red Bull has not won a race through 11 Grands Prix. That marks their first winless run since 2015. Back then, Verstappen was still driving for Toro Rosso. Now he is the one suffering in the top car. Former Ferrari engineer Rob Smedley delivered a stinging assessment recently. He rated Red Bull a mere 5 out of 10. Smedley noted there is a different problem every weekend. Inconsistent balance plagues the team from circuit to circuit, yet Verstappen recovered from 6th to 2nd in Hungary. His racecraft compensates for a fundamentally weak package. But talent cannot fix a broken development cycle forever. Technical director Pierre Wache insists they can still win. He cites an ongoing RB22 development program as hope. That target feels increasingly distant with each passing race. The gap to Antonelli keeps growing rather than shrinking. Car degradation is the enemy now, not tires. Balance problems change unpredictably from lap to lap. Verstappen says he cannot even put in a reference. Pushing is impossible when the car fights back. Safety concerns have even emerged during qualifying sessions. A rear wing failure made things dangerous for him. He stated it was becoming dangerous for himself. From lap 1, he has not enjoyed this car. The new regulation era brought zero driving pleasure. Media access was reportedly cut after his sharpest criticism. Red Bull wants to control the damaging narrative, but suppressing quotes does not fix the underlying pace. The winless streak is no longer just a statistic. It is the direct fuel for contractual instability. Without victories, the exit clause remains fully active. Performance on track dictates business decisions off it, so where does that leave the championship fight? The answer lies in how Red Bull responds next. They must solve technical issues before October arrives, otherwise the winless season becomes a permanent separation. The specific trigger for this contractual crisis is no longer theoretical speculation. It became a binding reality at the 2026 summer break. Reports indicate Verstappen sits roughly 6th in the Drivers' Championship standings. He trails Mercedes leader Kimi Antonelli by approximately 110 points. That massive deficit satisfies the exact condition written into his deal. The clause was added at his camp-specific request. His team had long-standing apprehension about the new rules. They feared the 2026 power unit formula would hurt them. They were right to worry about the chassis philosophy too, now that fear has materialized as legal leverage. The resulting exit window is reportedly open right now. It runs from the summer break through October 2026. This timeline creates immense pressure on both sides. Red Bull must decide their future driver lineup immediately. Delaying could cost them a replacement for next year. GP fans described this situation as a ticking time bomb. F1 oversteer corroborated the mechanics of this escape route. But here is where the story gets genuinely complicated. We must distinguish between reported terms and confirmed documents. Contracts are private and not officially released by the FIA. The precise numeric threshold remains sourced from media reports. No official Red Bull statement has validated these exact figures. Treat the October deadline as highly credible reporting. Do not treat it as an undisputed legal fact yet. This distinction matters enormously for understanding current negotiations. Teams often leak favorable terms to shape public perception. Is the reported gap exactly 110 points? Or is that number rounded for dramatic narrative effect? One source cites 109 points after 11 races. Another specifies roughly 110 behind the leader. Small discrepancies suggest we are seeing estimates, not audits. Yet the broader trend is undeniably clear and alarming. Verstappen is nowhere near the top 2 positions. That was the agreed performance benchmark for security. Missing it unlocks options that did not exist previously. His camp negotiated this safety net years ago. They anticipated potential struggles with the new regulations. Nobody expected the deficit to be quite this severe. 4 podiums across 11 rounds shows consistent scoring, but consistency without wins fails the contractual test. Points alone do not satisfy the top 2 requirement. Championship position is the only metric that counts here. So what happens if he exercises this option? The answer depends entirely on market availability elsewhere. Top seats at rival teams are rarely vacant mid-cycle. Timing is everything in Formula 1 driver movements. An October decision forces rushed negotiations across the grid. Other teams have already planned their 2027 lineups. Disrupting those plans requires significant financial compensation, or it requires a driver willing to take a sabbatical. Neither path is simple or guaranteed to succeed. This uncertainty keeps the entire paddock guessing daily. Every interview question now carries hidden contractual weight. Every radio message is analyzed for signs of frustration. The winless season problem is ultimately a contract problem. Performance data has transformed into legal negotiation leverage, and that leverage expires when October arrives. The mechanical root of this contractual crisis demands closer inspection. Verstappen's frustration is not abstract or emotional, it stems from specific, repeatable technical failures. Team radio transcripts reveal his exact wording repeatedly. He stated the car is undriveable with everything together. That phrase signals systemic failure, not isolated setup errors. Car degradation has replaced tire degradation as the primary issue. Balance problems shift unpredictably between individual laps. This makes consistent pace physically impossible to maintain. The new Ford power unit underperforms relative to rivals. Red Bull split from Honda after 2025 for this partnership. In-house Red Bull powertrains now bears full responsibility. Development struggles are visible in every qualifying session. Hungary exposed a rear wing safety concern during practice. Verstappen called the situation dangerous for himself. Safety issues compound performance deficits exponentially. Drivers cannot push when structural integrity is questionable. From lap 1, he had not enjoyed this 2026 car. Enjoyment matters more than statistics suggest. Confidence erodes when feedback loops break down completely. Engineers struggle to correlate data with driver sensation. Simulation tools fail to predict real-world behavior accurately. Weekend-to-weekend inconsistency prevents cumulative learning. Setup baselines reset at every new circuit. Progress requires stability that currently does not exist. Smedley's 5 out of 10 rating reflects this chaos. Different problems emerge each race without resolution. Yet Verstappen still extracted second place in Hungary. Racecraft temporarily masked fundamental package weaknesses. Recovery drives cannot substitute for qualifying pace indefinitely. Grid position determines strategic options on Sundays. Starting 6th limits overtaking opportunities significantly. Tire management becomes defensive rather than offensive. Fuel saving compromises outright lap time further. The RB22 forces reactive driving instead of proactive racing. Adaptation reaches its limit against superior machinery. Mercedes and Ferrari exploit straight-line speed advantages. Cornering deficits compound over long stints. Degradation curves steepen as fuel loads decrease. Late race pace falls off dramatically compared to leaders. Antonelli's Mercedes manages tires far more effectively. Consistent stint lengths build unassailable gaps. Verstappen's 4 podiums came through attrition or strategy. Pure speed rarely placed him in contention. Qualifying results confirm the underlying pace deficit. Top 3 starts have been exceptionally rare this year. Without front row access, wins become statistical anomalies. Strategy calls cannot overcome 20-second deficits. Pit stop execution matters less when track position is lost. Overtaking in 2026 cars remains notoriously difficult. DRS effectiveness varies greatly by circuit characteristics. Some tracks offer no realistic passing zones. Others penalize following cars with excessive tire wear. The RB22 suffers disproportionately in dirty air. Aerodynamic sensitivity amplifies balance instability. Mechanical grip cannot compensate for aero losses. Suspension geometry limits adjustment range severely. Ride height compromises floor ceiling efficiency. Ground effect generation fluctuates with surface bumps. Bounce frequencies disrupt driver comfort and vision. Neck strain accumulates over 60 lap distances. Physical fatigue compounds mental workload exponentially. Focus degrades when survival mode activates permanently. Mistakes multiply under sustained cognitive pressure. Feedback quality diminishes as exhaustion sets in. Engineers receive incomplete or delayed information. Setup changes become guesses rather than calculations. Development direction lacks clear validation signals. Wind tunnel correlation remains unreliable throughout 2026. CFD models diverge from track measurements consistently. Resource allocation spreads across multiple problem areas. No single fix addresses the core competitiveness gap. Budget caps limit rapid iteration cycles. Manufacturing lead times delay physical upgrades. Summer shutdown pauses all factory development work. Restarting momentum post-break proves historically difficult. Competitors continue evolving during mandatory closures. Relative performance gaps widen during inactive periods. Catch-up programs require disproportionate resource investment. Diminishing returns set in late within regulation cycles. Fundamental architecture flaws resist incremental fixes. Concept revisions demand next-year car commitments. 2026 development may already be strategically abandoned. Resources likely shift toward 2027 chassis design. Current season updates serve only damage limitation. Point scoring preserves constructor championship revenue. Prize money funds future development budgets directly. Winless seasons carry long-term financial consequences. Sponsorship valuations tie closely to visibility metrics. Podium appearances sustain partner satisfaction minimally. Victory droughts trigger contract renegotiation clauses. Marketing activations lose impact without celebration moments. Fan engagement correlates strongly with competitive success. Merchandise sales reflect on-track performance trends. Brand equity erodes during prolonged uncompetitive phases. Recruitment attractiveness diminishes for top engineering talent. Staff retention becomes challenging amid public criticism. Morale impacts productivity measurably within technical departments. Turnover rates increase during losing streaks. Institutional knowledge leaks to rival organizations. Competitive disadvantages compound across personnel transitions. Rebuilding culture takes longer than designing parts. Leadership stability matters during turbulent periods. Public confidence influences internal decision-making quality. Doubt spreads faster than solutions propagate. Accountability structures weaken under sustained pressure. Blame attribution replaces collaborative problem-solving. Communication breakdowns accelerate performance decline. Trust deficits hinder honest technical assessments. Fear of failure stifles innovative risk-taking. Conservative approaches guarantee mediocrity in modern F1. Bold concepts require psychological safety to pursue. That safety evaporates during winless campaigns. Creative engineering demands freedom from immediate scrutiny. Short-term survival instincts override long-term vision. Quarterly results overshadow multi-year development plans. Shareholder expectations constrain strategic patience. Racing divisions operate within broader corporate structures. Financial reporting cycles dictate resource availability. Performance metrics influence executive compensation packages. Board-level oversight intensifies during disappointing seasons. External stakeholders demand visible corrective actions. Personnel changes signal responsiveness to poor results. Technical leadership reshuffles create temporary disruption. Transition periods sacrifice development continuity. New appointees need months to diagnose root causes. Quick fixes rarely address systemic deficiencies. Sustainable recovery requires cultural transformation first. That process extends beyond any single season.